Tyson. 51-year-old Roy Jones fought an 8-round exhibition fight that was deemed a draw after Tyson destroyed Jones's midsection. Age ain't nothing but a number, but everyone is still talking about a former NBA star. Nate Robinson got knocked out by YouTube star Jake Paul in the second round. And when I say knocked out, I mean knocked out cold. Stephen A., what do you think was the bigger story? Was it Tyson Jones, or was it the fact that we saw Nate Robinson get KO'd?
I think it was Nate Robinson getting put to sleep. And when I say sleep, I mean sleep. I'm talking about out, not moving, completely out cold. Max, I don't know if it was smelling salts or something that they used, but he was on that canvas. I counted for at least 2 to 3 minutes. And when he sat up, they put the stool near him, and he couldn't even gather himself together to get up on the stool. This brother was put to sleep in a way that you only see that happen to people that take Ambien. It was that bad. And you know, I'm not going to be like other people in the NBA where you know, folks were joking around. I thought he was really, really hurt. I was scared for him when he didn't move. And he got KO'd like that, and you know, it was just something sad to see. Jake Paul clearly had more experience, clearly had more skill. He was the bigger, heavier fighter on top of that. Plus, he was the better boxer. And literally, Nate came in with his face. And so I thank God he's all right. And major props to him for, you know, joining the chat room. I heard he joined the chat room and was just taking the criticism like a man. I got a lot of love for the kid. I'm not, ain't nothing to laugh about. It was scary, to be quite honest with you. And it just goes to show what Snoop Dogg and all of them was saying, because I thought Snoop Dogg was absolutely fabulous calling the fight. He said, you don't play, and you know this better than me, Max. You don't play boxing. You don't play boxing when you get in that ring. You either know what you're doing or you stay the hell out of there.
Nate is super athletic and scrappy, but a lot of people who like fight and think if they fought in the street and they had any success there, or fought in a locker room or wherever, that they're going to get in a boxing ring without being trained. No, Jake Paul had muscle memory because Jake Paul is taking his fighting seriously over the last couple of years and is really putting in the work, and it's showing. His muscle memory is just better than Nate's was, right? And so, okay, that's what happens in boxing. The biggest story was Mike Tyson and Roy Jones. That was the best version of what that fight could have been. They came in shape, Tyson especially. And the funny thing is about Roy, Stephen A., is at his best, he was a better pound-for-pound fighter than Mike, even though Mike at his best probably the best pound-for-pound in the world too. But Roy was best pound-for-pound for almost like a decade. He was amazing. At his best, he's the best I've seen in my lifetime. But his style was based on an overwhelming speed advantage. Mike Tyson's style was based on overcoming a big height deficit and reach deficit as a heavyweight. So while Jones was considered the quote-unquote boxer in this fight, no, Jones is the athlete who needs to start feeling it, fight off a rhythm to get going. Mike is the more technical fighter, always was, and he showed it in this fight. But right around the third or fourth round, it's like, damn, Roy's got nothing for Mike. Mike is too strong. Roy even said it after the fight. You saw those body shots really hurting Roy. And I saw a look in Roy's face, and Roy is a friend of mine, like a genuine friend of mine, and I worked with him for years. And so, I'm like, Roy, don't go out like this, you know, and I don't want to see him get hurt. And Stephen A., it looked to me, he was huffing and puffing, feeling the body shots. It looked to me like Roy said, hell no, I'm not going out like this, and rejuvenated himself and made it a fight. Whether or not it was a draw, it's something else, but Roy made it competitive. He refused to just get run over. And because of that, and because no one got hurt, I was highly entertained in the end. I thought that was the best version of what that fight might have been, and I wouldn't mind seeing Mike do it again, provided you match him right. Another old guy, another small guy, not a big young guy.
You know, as a young backup quarterback, you pray to God for the opportunity to get on the field in the NFL. Because a lot of times for backup quarterbacks, it's about, catching a lucky break. Like, you just get the opportunity to get on the field. And you don't have any idea what one game can do for your career. I mean, imagine Matt Flynn. Remember years ago, Matt Flynn got to play for the Green Bay Packers, and all of a sudden, he got a ton of money because he balled out against the Lions, and he gets a huge free agent contract from the Seattle Seahawks. You don't know what one game can do. And all the time, you're getting ready for that moment, for you just to catch your break. And now you don't get it, Brett Rippon. And now Blake Bortles, a guy that's trying to get back into the NFL, you don't get that break because you can't follow simple protocol. Like, you can't be an adult and do exactly what gets told to you by the NFL. And you did let your football team down. And you did let yourselves down because you couldn't do something that you thought wasn't that big a deal. Drew Lock, I'm supposed to give you the keys to my franchise. I'm supposed to believe that you can be a billion-dollar CEO and you can follow simple protocol. I don't care if you like it. I don't care. That's what is getting told for you to do by the people upstairs. And now you missed out on your opportunity to get on the field, Brett Rippon. And Blake Bortles trying to get back in the NFL, you missed out on your opportunity because you couldn't do that. And you can't go home now and tell your buddies or tell your girlfriend or tell your wife, I just needed a chance. I never got my chance. Yeah, you did. You had your chance. I don't care how the opportunity presented itself. You had your opportunity and you blew it because you couldn't follow simple guidelines. And that's on them. And I feel bad for the Broncos as an organization that now this brings the biggest question to mind for me when it comes to Drew Lock. How can I trust you with my franchise when I can't trust you to do things that you don't want to do? And so I feel bad for them as an organization, but that's on those players. They completely failed. Those quarterbacks completely failed their organization, and they failed themselves.
Dan, someone that did not let their team down yesterday is Tyreek Hill of the Kansas City Chiefs. How could the Buccaneers allow him to just go nuts like that on them?
Yeah, Key, it's a great point, man. I think the Buccaneers, it's really been highlighted on their offensive side this year, but the Buccaneers right now are the team that we're going to do what we do. We're just, this is who we are. We're going to play man coverage. Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Exactly.
Like, just because you're a good man coverage team doesn't mean that you should do it against Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. And that's what just showed up early on in that game. It was like the Buccaneers said, you know what? No. We're gonna be who we are, and we're gonna do what we do on defense, and that's play in your face man coverage, not against Tyreek Hill. You don't do that. We all know that, Key. You and I have sat there on the NFL Live set and said, don't play man coverage against these guys. They're too good. And the fact that the Bucs came out yesterday, and especially in that first quarter, and did that, is the reason that one of the big reasons why they lost that football game.
It's puzzling because the NFL is such a copycat league. One of the things that I've always learned is I'm just going to somewhat take what the Raiders have been able to do to them over the last two games and implement that into my defensive scheme because I got that package somewhere. I got it. I can play the same way the Raiders play, but whatever, man. So now we got Jalen Hurts taking first-team reps in Philadelphia, Dan. Carson Wentz is kind of put on notice. Doesn't mean a whole lot to me that a backup is taking first-team reps. What do you make of it?
Yeah, my thoughts are that the organization has a differing opinion on what should happen because I think that if the organization saw the situation and the players the same way, because of the immense struggles that this offense and Carson Wentz are having so far, everyone would go, well, listen, it's time for Jalen Hurts. We drafted him in the second round. And I understand they drafted him to be a developmental player, but they also drafted him in the second round. And so this would be the time and this would be the moment to go, okay, it's going to be the Jalen Hurts show. And we're going to give Carson Wentz a week on the bench, or we're going to see what we have moving forward, no matter if we win this division or not this year. But the fact that it's just, hey, we're going to give him a little bit more reps means that, or at least it tells me that there's a differing opinion in the organization. Maybe the general manager has one viewpoint and the head coach has another viewpoint, or the owner has one viewpoint and the team has a different viewpoint. Now, that being said, I don't expect this to be a, hey, Jalen Hurts got 25 snaps at quarterback situation. I think that this is going to be something where very specific third down package. This offense has been absolutely dreadful on third down. So a very different specific third down package, maybe in the red zone where, 3rd and 3 or less, Jalen Hurts comes on the field. Carson Wentz come off the field. Now we can play 11-on-11 football, or down in the red zone where we can get +1 in the quarterback run game. Again, the opportunity to play 11-on-11 football. But I will say this, and I know this is a little off topic, but the Daniel Jones injury, with the Giants, now everybody in Philadelphia is on the clock. Like, if you can't win the division this year with Daniel Jones now hurt for we'll see how long, and you know, the Washington football team with their quarterback situation, Dwayne Haskins not playing and Kyle Allen getting hurt, and now Alex Smith playing, and then the Cowboys, we all know, if you can't win the division this year, you're on the clock because now everything has been served on a platter to you.
Dan, I know you told us what you think the Eagles would do. What would you do if you have full autonomy? How would you handle the Carson Wentz, Jalen Hurts situation?
Yeah, there'd be no question Carson Wentz would be my starter, and I'd get him to play really good football. I think that Carson Wentz still is a high-level talent in this league. I said this last week, Jay. I think there's two really kind of groupings of quarterbacks in the NFL. There's thinkers and there's reactors. Some of the thinkers, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, I think Dak Prescott is one of the better thinkers in the NFL. And then there's reactors, and I think Carson Wentz is a reactor. And there's some guys that are both. He's a really very much so a thinker before the snap, but he's a reactor after the snap. I wouldn't sit him in the pocket a lot. I'd get him on the move a ton, somewhat like the Tennessee Titans do with Ryan Tannehill. And I'd let his athleticism kind of marry that football team. And if you watch the game over the last 2 or 3 weeks for Carson Wentz, I can see that there is the overwhelming evidence that he is scared to make mistakes right now. That you can almost see the little angel and the devil kind of